everybody, and welcome back to the Kit and Krysta podcast.
Welcome back to you.
Thank you. I am back in the U.S. in my house. We had said that we were going to be back in the studio this week to record, but unfortunately, my poor mom, Mama Yang, is not feeling very well today.
No.
So she said to don't come over because she didn't want to give us anything that she could have. So she was very considerate. This is what people used to not do this at the Nintendo office pre-COVID.
That's true.
People would come into the office sick all the time. And remember, they would be in meetings.
Put their dirty tissues on the meeting table. It's gross.
And then they would blow their nose and stuff like that in the meeting. See?
Great start to this episode.
Great.
We wish your mother the best, though.
My mother is already feeling much better, but
good.
But I definitely don't want to have any sort of. I don't want to get sick, so I really appreciate that she let us know. So we're here once again.
Here we are
in these boxes, which is fine. Still good, but back in the same time zone.
That's
so you
right.
Don't see the sky getting dark.
The sun turning to nighttime. No, we won't get that.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting to have episode 33 of the podcast today, the big 3-3. We're going to be at 40 before we know it, which is going to be exciting. Well, I'm going to let you tell people about the story time today because it's you have a different vision of what happened than I do. Clearly,
no, I'm pretty sure you won't want to miss the story time segment we're going to do in just a bit because. Let me give you a comparison. Sometimes, occasionally, there'll be a leaked video from a movie set where it's you got to see this because Tom Cruise let the crew have it. Or there's another famous one from Christian Bale where he's just going off. He is off in another world, just ranting, expletive-filled, just tearing these people to pieces. And you kind of had a moment like that with this Nintendo Minute video that we are going to look back on this week. That's all I'll say up front.
Yes. Again, your memory of it and my memory of going through it could be a little different. So we'll get into that.
What do you and Tom Cruise have in common? Potentially both short, I was going to say.
Sure.
Is Tom Cruise actually short or not? We'll never know. But you definitely have this in common.
Apparently. We'll see. We'll go into it. And maybe, no one will know because you had to be there. To ask the third party that was there.
A lot of people were there.
Yeah. As always, every episode of the Kit and Krysta podcast and everything we do on our channel is made possible by our beautiful Patreon family. If you're not already a subscriber of our Patreon community, please consider it. It's patreon.com/Kit and Krysta. We have tons of different tiers. We have a lot of fun. We just got a great message that you posted on Twitter
Couldn't
yesterday.
Believe it.
I could believe it. From our Patreon only Discord, which is becoming and has become really my favorite place to hang out all week with you guys. And someone said this is the nicest Discord server they've ever been in. And we get that comment honestly a lot. And even our mods who are just the sweetest people and the most wonderful people say that they mod for other channels, but this one is extremely positive and upbeat, and people are very polite and friendly and welcoming.
Interesting that this comes the week after you're on vacation. Wonder how that might be connected. But no, I
have stopped spoiling things.
That was a wonderful comment. We also have coming up very shortly after this goes live, our big One Up Club meetup for the month of September. We're going to be getting together with our One Up Club and Superstar members and playing some Splatoon 3.
Yeah, that's going to be really exciting. We do these every month. It's been so much fun to just get to know everybody, and it's very casual. Now it's just feels like, you're on this big group call with all your friends playing video games, which is exactly what I wanted when we started doing this. So yeah, it's great. So if you haven't joined us yet, please consider joining us. It's wonderful here. Well, I was away, but the content did not stop. As you said, yes, last week we had.
How do you feel? Now I got to ask you a question. How do you feel knowing I can basically keep this going as a one-person operation? I feel like this makes you nervous.
Is that actually what happened?
I mean, I think it might have been. But how do you feel? Don't cover it up.
What do you mean? I don't feel any type of way because it's
I
not
don't
true.
feel anything. What's an emotion? I don't have one.
It's not. Look, that's actually something you need to deal with. You have the icy ice heart.
I'm Scandinavian. It's different.
Okay. That's not an excuse. But we had a really fun video for Super Kitten Krysta 64 that was your great idea. So I'll let you describe it to the fine people here.
Well, it's out now, so people can see it. But
but describe it, though.
We did a scavenger hunt in Nintendo 64 where, we just give somebody a clue. And you have to find not only the game it is from, but the moment where it happens.
Yeah, exactly. First 5 minutes of the game. The good thing about the NSO N64 thing is that it doesn't have that many games. So it's like a pretty limited group that you could choose from, which was helpful, but also not, because I think I had some moments in there looking for your hints or looking for what you wanted me to find. And it almost broke you. You had some moments of almost near panic.
I think we both did pretty good, though, considering, it's a lot of games and, you could just miss it. So I think we, on the whole, did pretty good. I was worried after we filmed that, they announced GoldenEye was coming to the surface. And I was like, oh man, GoldenEye is going to come out. This whole video is going to feel obsolete because we don't have it. People are going to be like, where's your GoldenEye, bro? There's still no GoldenEye, so I feel okay.
Yeah, there's the eyes are not golden at all.
No.
But when that happens, we definitely have to play GoldenEye because I have never played the single player mode and I can't wait to shoot a guy in the toilet.
Shoot the guy in the toilet.
I'm
from
really
the little
excited.
vent ahead. Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
You're going to be looking over your shoulder next time you go to the bathroom after you do that. Whoa, who's there? What's going on?
Oh, no. Yeah. That's a whole other issue if that happens.
So that's out now. The thing we are recording for Super Kitten Krysta this week, though,
is so cool.
Really special and great.
And fun.
So obviously the Mario movie, there's a teaser coming. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about that in the news. But that got us thinking, the floodgates for Nintendo media properties could be opening really soon. So we want to get ahead of that. We are going to be casting the Legend of Zelda movie.
Right.
Which, look, after Nintendo sees what we're pitching, they're going to sign us up.
They're going to sign us up right now to make
executive
this movie.
Producers. Here we go.
We're going to be the new Benioff and Weiss.
Never a Minute Pictures. Don't say that. Those didn't end well for them.
They did okay until season 5.
No. So we are each casting the main characters.
Right.
We have written a plot synopsis for how we would approach this movie.
Right.
And we're going to do a brief table read.
The table read section
from our script. These pages. Spun gold pages.
Great. I was really nervous about the table read part because I was like, do I even know how to write a script?
Well, sure you do.
And then it just came out like magic inspiration. It was really cool.
I don't know what you've got. I mean, we're going to surprise ourselves with this.
Yeah.
My stuff is so good. Like, it's like, just seriously hire me. I will make this into a bajillion-dollar franchise for you. It is so easy. All right. You
have some good source material, as they say, to work from. You have some great source material. Yes, exactly.
Get your Chris Pratt jokes in now. Chris Pratt is Link.
Oh my God, no. That's like the worst idea ever. It's not like that. Not like the Mario movie casting. This is some classy casting.
Navi? Chris Pratt is Navi? Comic relief?
Navi. Jack Black is Navi?
He just signed a lifetime contract. Okay? Sign that man up.
Although there was a lot of chit chat about the lady that's the actress is playing Pete, Anya Taylor.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, she should be Zelda too, because she has that kind of similar look as well. Like,
I'll be honest, I've never seen a single thing that she is in.
She's in The Queen's Gambit.
Not
which
familiar
is a
with her.
very good show on Netflix. She was really good in that.
You a big chess player?
No.
There are some scandals in the world of chess, which I will not go into the details because they're quite sordid, but whoa.
What kind of scandals can you get into in chess?
I'll tell you later.
Wow, I didn't think that
it is wild though.
That you this is not the audience there, but
this is not the world's top chess podcast though.
No.
One other thing, if you missed it, check out our preview of Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. We had a great conversation with Davide Soliani.
Who's
who is a
amazing.
wonderful human being. We
Yeah.
became immediate best friends.
Yeah, absolutely. And that game really surprised both of us, and we really enjoyed what we played during that awesome event. And our first impressions are out now, and the game comes out really soon as well. So I can't wait
Yeah,
to
yeah,
I can't wait to
we're
play it
like almost a
for
month away.
realsies.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Before we jump into our Never a Minute No, our story time segment, thank you so much to Slickdeals for sponsoring this episode. If you don't know what Slickdeals is, we've talked about it a lot on this podcast because we love this service. It is basically a Chrome extension or a app that you can get that automatically lets you get discounts on your favorite online retailers. Now, this week's sponsored segment is actually really cool and special for you guys because we're actually doing a giveaway.
Yes.
So one thing that I actually did not know that Slickdeals applied to was like gift cards.
Sure.
And like online gift cards or online gift codes. So I did a quick little search and found that you can get some Nintendo eShop cards at a pretty nice little discount. So like a $50 gift card you get for less than you pay less than $50 for that gift card. So that is what we're giving to you guys. We're gonna give away a $50 Nintendo eShop card. All you have to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is the channel that you're watching. If you're watching this episode, that is the channel you are on right now. Don't forget to also leave us a comment letting us know what game you would buy with your Nintendo eShop gift card. And also give this video a thumbs up. And we'll pick one winner at random. And if you want to check out Slickdeals, we have links in our description. I'll also put them right here. But it's awesome. Get your deals, win a gift card.
That's amazing. I mean, eShop is basically like, well, I'm trading one form of money to get another. And
Right.
to say I'm trading one form of money and I'm paying less to get more, that's great.
Even if it's just a few dollars less, like why not? Why would you not? Right? Like, yeah, it's like so easy. You just get a code. It's awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, enter for your chance to win, and we will pick a winner next week. Woohoo!
Cool. All right. Thank you, Slickdeals. Well, let's not wait any further. Let's get into this scandalous story.
Talk about sordid details on movie sets and chess games.
So,
this will take the cake. Apparently.
If you want to follow along, the Nintendo Minute episode is called Nintendo HQ Store Shopping Spree Showdown. That's a lot of S's.
It really is.
This came out in November 2017, so it was kind of, months into the Switch life.
Yes.
And this was kind of the first in a number of shopping spree videos that we ended up doing.
Right. We had this great idea for like doing something around the holiday time that involved like buying Nintendo products from the various stores. So we actually ended up doing one at the Nintendo New York store when we were all shut down for COVID. We did it online, which was not fun. But the cool part is that we would always donate everything that we purchased to Starlight Foundation, which is a charity that Nintendo works closely with. So it was always fun to like kind of shop for that. We also did one at Best Buy. That was really fun.
That one was amazing.
That was like probably the best one. But this became sort of a Nintendo Minute holiday tradition where we would go and shop and do some sort of competition in the store and then give it away. It's funny how this video that had this really rocky production thing started a really fun tradition because I don't know, I feel like maybe the crew afterwards was like, do we really want to do that again? But we did, and it was okay. We never had this situation happen again. So
we were sort of aiming high with this first one because this store in the Redmond office, there is a really cool, Nintendo, it's branded Nintendo World, like Nintendo New York. They call it Nintendo Redmond, but it's not open to the public. And a lot of the office is off limits for filming. So we were really kind of shooting our shot to even ask, like, could we do this?
Right. I remember we had to ask the highest person in charge of operations at Nintendo that was also in charge of the store. And this person is notorious. He's been at the company for like forever, like over 35 years or something like this at this point. You can hear my cat totally meowing outside, right? She's like, let me back in. But we were a little intimidated by him because has been known to be like very sort of strict about the filming policies, but also like a little bit of like brusque. And
Occasionally grumpy.
Grumpy. Yeah,
Yeah.
he could like basically just like yell at you and make you feel dumb. So we were like, is he going to be mad that we even asked, or like, is this going to be okay? But surprisingly, like very little pushback on this idea of shooting a video in there. And he was very much like, yeah, absolutely. We totally be okay with that, but just make sure you keep the filming sort of like, inside the store. Which is
unpredictable
awesome.
Responses is becoming a theme of our stories of Nintendo.
Sometimes it works out in our favor. Sometimes it doesn't.
Spin the wheel of reactions. Maybe you'll get chewed out. Maybe you'll get patted on the head. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. That was the funny thing about Nintendo in general. Is like you never know where your idea was going to land, and
right.
Sometimes getting a lot of no's makes you feel like you shouldn't try again. But then we do try, and then cool things happen. Like we get to do a shopping spree inside the employee store.
So, Nintendo Minute was mostly based in the Redwood City office operation, but we did have one person who was in Redmond, which is producer Hannah.
Yes.
And we asked her to go down to the store before we got there and really scout it out. And we needed her to come up with these clues for us to find all of these things. And obviously we couldn't be involved in that process because otherwise we ourselves would be spoiled. And that was always kind of like a nerve-wracking thing, I think, for both of us, where it's like, normally we want to be as involved as possible. But in this case, we had to be completely hands-off or it just wouldn't work. Yeah.
And we were basically trusting producer Hannah and the rest of the team to do kind of a lot for a Nintendo Minute video, which is usually just us sitting on the couch playing a game. So it was like kind of a lot going on already, just in like building out this like setup for the video. And the idea was that we would each get a list of scavenger hunt clues, and we would have to go around the store and find those items. If you got the item right, you get points. If you get the item wrong, you lose points. So there was a bit of and this is important. This will become an important element to what happens next. So
one other important detail of the rules we should get out up front is if you had time left over, that would also be a bonus for you.
That's right. If you had time left over.
Right. So we go in there. I went first, I remembered.
You did.
And, thought I did great. Didn't really have too much trouble with it. There were a couple things that I got hung up on, but I thought overall I did pretty good.
Yeah.
And at that time, you were kind of off in like a side room. Obviously you couldn't see what I was doing. So we had no visibility into what the other person was doing, which was also a fun element of this.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It was a surprise to see it was supposed to be a surprise at the end to see who got the highest score, because we didn't know going into it like what each other was doing at all.
And so I come out, you go in, but you are gone for a very long time, and I'm wondering what is happening over there.
Yeah, definitely. You had said the clues were not too hard. I thought they were pretty good too. Producer Hannah did a really good job writing them, but there were some clues for sure that were like, it could be it could be two items that were pretty similar. So I took some time to do that. And then I was gone for a long time, and you were like, what's going on? It's like almost twice the time of how long it took you to do this. So I come back, and really like the worst case scenario in terms of like producing something happened during that shoot to me, which is the person that was following me around the store with a GoPro camera to capture me doing the shopping spree part of it, like didn't press the record button or just didn't record it at all. So the entire time that I was doing my run it wasn't captured on camera at all. So I actually had to do it twice. And the second time I did it, basically it was me like acting. The one that you guys see in the video is not real. Like I had already found all the items. I had already shopped. So I redid it. I like literally deserve an Oscar for this performance, I think, because I don't think anyone could tell that it wasn't real. But I basically did it twice. And the second time I just had to like fake it and pretend like it was the first time through.
I can tell you're already getting quite aggravated.
I'm not.
I mean, we might get another replay of this rant.
I'm not getting aggravated.
So yes, you come back. You're in quite a mood because it's like, gosh, I had to do this again. That happened. How many times did we lose footage? I think 3 times total. We lost something.
Yeah. This time was really bad though, because not only did you lose, it wasn't like you lost gameplay footage and just had to replay the game again. Like you literally had so many reactions as you went around the store trying to find the items. To redo that again, just like it really sucked because it not only was it annoying for me to do again, but it like the whole like spirit of the video hinges on the element of surprise. And I was like annoyed because I was thinking, well, if I didn't do a good job selling it, then like this video is gonna totally flop, right? Because you could tell that it was faked. So I was just like really kind of disappointed about that part of it.
So we both finish. We meet up again. I can tell you're, one thing away from blowing your stack. But we go back out there. They reveal the results, and it turns out that we tied, which was unexpected and interesting. Right. And it's like, okay, well, that's great. We talk about how we're giving everything to Starlight. It's great. We wrap up. And then after they stop recording, we go into the details of how the scoring went. And you seem to have some accusations about me breaking the rules.
You weren't breaking the rules. You were finding loopholes in the rules.
I didn't make the rules.
That's what you said during the thing. But it doesn't matter because you interpreted them in like the worst way possible.
Then blame the so what?
But why would your brain go there? Is my question. Like what?
That's on the people who made the rules.
No, but that's like on you for being like morally corrupt when you're interpreting rules and you find like the loophole. It's like what a dirty lawyer would do, basically.
This was a big life lesson for you that things in life can be interpreted more than one way. You're so black and white.
I'm not.
Life is gray areas.
Life is gray areas, but you want to stay on the side of good, not on the side of like let me try to like be like try to like take advantage of the situation, which is exactly what you did. So the rules. In the beginning, these were very important rules. Remember, people, this is the you guys judge him now, okay? Because I don't know.
What?
I think. Anyways, the rules say that if you get the item right, you get a point. If you get the item wrong, you lose a point. If you have time left over, you would also get some points as an advantage. So instead of trying to get all the items, or if you had a question about an item that you weren't sure about, which you had a few, you just didn't do anything. And you just went there early and stood there until your time was up.
There was one that I forget which one it was. I was really stumped on one. And I said, I'm not going to get this, but we have this. It's written on the page, the rules. If I have extra time, I'll get this bonus. So I said, well, I'm just not going to do it. And I'm going to say I'm done. What's wrong with that?
You just didn't try.
This is how life works.
Why didn't you try to like play the game? It's like an Olympic athlete. That's
we saw what happened when I tried every other challenge we did, and I beat you.
You didn't try.
I tried hard. Look at the Kit and Krysta ongoing challenge board. We need to update that. It's not going well for you, is it? Do you really want me to try? So
you
anyway,
should always try.
So this, I mean, like it was this times about 1,000 was your. You were seeing red, really, and you just went around the room. It's like, Kit, blah 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 blah. You did this on purpose. And again, there are so many words I can't and shan't repeat on this family-friendly show. Producer Hannah, you made these rules, blah yada yada yada. You're the worst, also. I mean, poor producer Hannah.
I don't think I yelled at producer Hannah.
She was almost in tears.
No, she wasn't.
Oh my gosh.
Don't say that. I did not yell at her.
And then, last but not least, the crew. Which was not even our usual crew. Like, you really, I mean, you had saved the best for them. Oh my gosh.
Well, they did not press record on the camera, which is literally their only job.
They showed contrition. They said sorry.
This is my job now to press record on the camera. If I said I didn't press record on the camera and you lost an entire 2-hour podcast, would you be upset with me? I think you would. I think you would be upset.
I mean, thank goodness, Reggie wasn't walking down the hallway, or he might have gotten some too. Reggie, one more thing for you. Let me tell you what's up. I mean, you were just letting anybody and everybody just get blasted.
I was so mad.
Yeah.
I was so mad. Again, I was mainly mad at you, though.
Tom Cruise had nothing on this. I'm
still a little bit mad at you now, as you can see.
Because we tied?
No, because you didn't try.
I didn't even win.
Misinterpreted the rules.
If I was going to break the rules on purpose, I would have won. Jeez.
You're doing it on purpose.
Well, in the end, again, you would never know. It turned out to be a great video. I just looked at it. It's like at 1 million views, so it did great.
Wow,
Classic and iconic. Okay, it's kind of a side thing. There was somebody that we worked with closely who said, when we started out, they're like, if you ever get a video that gets 1 million views, I'm going to get you a cake.
They never bought us a cake.
Because that'll be a big milestone for you. And then we eventually had multiple, million videos.
$1 million
and never a peep out of this person again. How dare they?
This person also was a betting man, a gambling man, as we would say.
Yeah.
And he would make other people pay their bets. Like
he would intervene.
He would intervene as like the person that like shakes you down.
Ironically,
to make sure you pay a bet. And ironically, he didn't pay his own bet.
The gambling morality police, ironically.
Maybe I can yell at him next because now I'm worked up.
Oh,
okay?
no, you're in a mood. The rest of this podcast is going to be interesting.
Get him on the horn.
What's in that cup, by the way? We're recording this at 10 in the morning. You're back from a week in Europe. I don't know what's in that cup. My gosh, I can't see inside there.
La Vin Rouge. Just kidding. That's not.
Oh
gosh. But anyways, you would never know. The video turned out great. I was the world's best actress. Move over, Helen Mirren. Give me that Oscar.
Dame Helen.
Wow. Move on over.
Okay.
Meryl Streep, move over.
All right. Wow. Great.
And no one dared to not press record on the GoPro camera ever again after that.
Well, next time it happens, you're going to have yourself to blame because you're responsible for all the camera work.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm careful. Operation. I'm very careful about it.
Well, I'm very eager. I'm very eager to change the subject right now because you're worked up. So why don't we move on to our Never a Minute segment?
Okay. We did a fun little poll for our superstars leading up to this week. Our superstars here in our Patreon community, they get to vote on things that they want to hear about in the podcast. So
they're pulling the strings.
They really are the ones in charge, honestly. They picked this, so if you don't like it, you can blame them. That's my excuse for everything. If you don't like it, you can blame them. Just kidding. But we are going to do a fun little Never Have I Ever discussion. It could be juicy. How are your questions there? Are they juicy?
I'm starting out big. I'm ready to go. Yeah.
Really? We did 3 questions, 3 Never Have I Ever statements each. And we're gonna see some of the things that you're keeping in that closet here. Your skeletons. What kind of Never Have I Ever skeletons do you have in that closet?
We are getting around to Halloween season here.
What's going on there?
Can I go first? I got a real.
You're like itching to go here.
I got a real good one to start us off with. All right.
All right, let's do it. Go for it.
First one is never have I ever kissed an amiibo.
Oh, I have.
And which one was it?
It was a Bo Goblin.
That's right. We had to do that in a video.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. I mean, you had to do that because you spun the wheel and you had to kiss the amiibo. But of your own volition, have you done?
Oh, I've kissed that Chrome amiibo many times.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I'm an inanimate object kisser. This is an admission. This is an admission.
One thing about me.
One thing about me, I am an inanimate object kisser. Like, I was an only child, so I didn't have any friends or anybody growing up. So I was very attached. I'm going somewhere with this, trust me. I was very attached to my toys, like stuffed animals or it's kind of like a lonely kid. So just had all these stuffed animals and dolls and whatever. And I definitely kissed my stuffed animals. I kissed the Snorlax all the time.
Okay.
back there. So I have no qualms kissing an amiibo. I definitely had to do one for a video, but I also
any beyond the Crom.
Who else? I think I kissed King K. Rool. I kissed his little belly. It's a little boop.
That's a good
little
one.
kiss on the belly.
Yeah, that's a good one too, actually.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
You just want to kiss it. Look at his belly.
I like it anytime the belly button is an X.
Yeah, you want to kiss the X.
Like a King Hippo
and then also,
Punch Out. Yeah.
And Piranha Plant when you jump on his belly.
Petey Piranha.
Petey Piranha. Kiss that too.
Does this ever happen in real life? If you get like a real bad Audi belly button, could it just be a little X?
I always feel like it's like a boo-boo and you need to kiss it.
Well, it hurts because it's like about to pop.
Kiss it to make it better.
Yeah.
Like a boo-boo. My mom used to do that.
I thought about this. I actually don't know. It's neither yes nor no. It's unclear to me.
Are you not an inanimate object kisser?
Not really.
Oh.
So I really thought hard about this, and I was like, I can't say definitively whether I have or have not.
Do you have one right now? Can you just kiss it now and get it over with? Do you have
one
within reach?
I do
not. Do you have an amiibo within reach right now?
What do I have? I don't have that.
Dang, that could have been a great moment for you to change from I don't know to I have.
I'll kiss who or what I want. I'm going to take your orders from you.
Well, you have to kiss things that give you consent, actually.
That's true.
Not inanimate objects, but you know, other things. Did you ever kiss your dog?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so you weren't like opposed to, okay.
No. My dog was not an inanimate object.
I know, but I'm just wondering like where your kissing began and where the kissing ends.
It was a bulldog, so it seemed like an inanimate object at times. Just like...
He kisses like wrinkled little. I feel like I've kissed your dog before. Actually, kiss everything apparently, so it's fine. All right, I'm going next.
Yes,
ready?
Please.
Never have I ever lied to a higher up or exec at Nintendo about a project I was working on.
Absolutely not.
Oh, I have.
Oh, about what?
First of all, let's break this down. Are you sure?
Why would I do that?
You've never lied.
I mean, sometimes
think about it a little bit harder.
You can spin things in certain ways. Again, this goes to our view of, telling the rules. Again, there's a lot of ways that you can look at things. And if I'm delivering the information, I get to choose how it's delivered.
That sounds like you have lied.
No, I don't think so. Well, tell me yours. Sounds like you got a good one here.
No, I want you to tell me an example of when you twisted the truth.
I don't know if I have an example, but it's like, there might be a little detail I'm leaving out of like, this thing we're maybe not going so great on. You're on part of my status update. Maybe I'm just not going to tell you.
Oh, because you just omit certain parts of information, not outward. Right. If someone asks you directly, like, how is this specific? But I wouldn't be going?
Like, well, how many Twitter followers do we have? I wouldn't be like, well, we've got 50 million, sir. That's not true. Also, you could just look and check.
You can just look. You can't just lie. You have to be at least lie, be good at it, right?
I always like getting questions from people that were like literally publicly available information.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. How many people like this tweet? Yeah, well, let me look at Twitter. 5,000.
I can do the same thing you can do and look.
You don't memorize how many likes, shares, and comments you have on every social media post ever? Why? Okay, so here's mine. Now, I know for a fact that we both did this, so I feel like you didn't.
Well, hold on. Let me hit yes on Reggie's invite to the podcast right now, so you can tell him.
I didn't lie to him.
And Reggie's in the chat. Okay.
Reggie has entered the chat.
What have you done?
He's like, why were you shouting at people in the office, and why were you swearing at them, and then why have you lied? He's like, I'm gonna fire you now, but it's too late. But you have done this too, so I'm gonna call you out on
Tell me.
So we had a particular boss that we both shared for a time that was very, let's just say, like one of those people that just needed to make comments on documents. Like if you send this person like a blank document, like a blank press release or something like that, you just cannot control his need to like make comments.
Yeah. Or you could send him like an excerpt from like a classic like Charles Dickens. I'll send you a page of Charles Dickens, and he would like mark that thing up.
It
like,
was like,
no.
It's the best of times. It's
Yeah.
the worst of times. And
True.
you're like
Can you confirm? Can you substantiate?
this sentence is as awkward. Okdot. He used to write Nobody's gonna get this joke except for me, you, and like the 10 people that also worked for him. So if you guys are listening, please laugh along. But he would always abbreviate awkward to the letters A, W, K, and period. So
Okdot.
we basically would be like, oh, here's the Okdot comments. Anyways, so this person notorious for like marking up documents,
Sure,
and also notorious for having very little faith in documents that were in its early stages.
Oh yeah. So
for example, if you whenever we send, this is very like boring like formatting stuff, but we would send things for review, like for approval, and it would be like the name of the document. So let's just say it's like Skyward Sword press release version 1.
I know where you're going with this now.
If this person sees something that has version 1, he's going to immediately assume that you actually didn't do any work on this at all. You've sent him this like document that he's going to need to basically like insert a lot of his comments into, because he, again, can't control himself. And then you're going to just get blasted with like a document that's completely marked up and with a lot of Okdots and if the sentence is true or false. So what I would do, even if I had made no changes to this document, is I would change the version to like version 6. So that
what do you mean what you would do? I taught you how to do this.
This is why you search.
Well, no, listen. Let's be honest here.
You just got yourself in a lot.
Stop. My version 1 is basically like your version 6, okay? So I'm just leveling out the playing field here. Am I wrong? No.
I submit to you, audience.
I taught this to you.
This exhibit here of this man and his version of quote unquote the rules.
Am I guilty of thinking highly of myself? I guess so. I think the work speaks for itself.
This version of quote unquote my rules versus your rules and what is a lie and what is not. I submit to you, the listeners, the viewers.
Oh, you got me.
You guys
in court here.
Decide, okay?
Let's hear about all the times you lied to me, though.
I never lied to you.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what all this was all building up to, and I always lied to you because you were so dumb.
I never lied to you.
That was a long one. Let's go on to my second one here. This is an interesting one. Have I ever changed my personality while playing a game with voice chat? Like, have you kind of said, like, a lot of the like iconic 12-year-olds playing Call of Duty are playing a tough guy, and they're probably not that tough in real life. So have you ever like put on a different persona doing like random voice chat?
I have never.
Okay.
I have never.
It might be harder for girls.
It's a little bit harder for girls. I feel like, and I don't voice chat that much.
Period.
Or ever. But even when I was playing like a lot of World of Warcraft and like I was like with, or Destiny. I was playing a lot of Destiny with like a lot of voice chat. Although I was playing with mostly friends. With World of Warcraft, I was definitely playing with more strangers. But yeah, I've never done that. I've always been me. That's not worked out the best sometimes, but I've never done that.
Yeah, I actually don't think I've done this either. And I also completely fallen off of voice chat. I've like this. Yeah. People thought this was a good idea. It's actually a terrible idea.
It's actually awful. Yeah.
But just those early years of Xbox Live on the original Xbox were crazy. Yeah. It was such a weird like social experiment of like, how will people act when there's complete anonymity?
Exactly.
And a lot of people were not being themselves, I think.
They are not they're definitely not being themselves. They're definitely not well behaved. It's just almost like it's like something takes over them and they're like, oh, I can just do whatever I want. I can like, be like wild and crazy and like have no consequences at all. And
I mean, I guess when you're just, berating coworkers in the middle of an office, you just don't have enough, filters
just
to even do that.
Lying on a daily basis, but you don't know it's a lie.
How you get your kicks.
Whatever.
Okay. Taking it out on Producer Hannah ran to the bathroom.
A victim of this. I just talked to producer Hannah this weekend.
Leave her alone.
Are on great terms.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
It's because she's terrified of you.
No, she's not. Producer Hannah later on became one of my direct reports.
Oh my gosh. How far does it go? All right, so that's my second one.
Okay, here's my second one. Never have I ever pretended to beat a game just to be part of the cool kids club because the game was so popular.
Well, no, I'm pretty open about not beating games or using workarounds to get to the end of a game. I am still working my way through these Xenoblade Chronicles 3 videos. They're so long. Like from chapter 4 to the end is basically one big cutscene. It's crazy.
It's like a full length 2-hour movie at this point.
It's more than 2 hours. There was in high school. Or when Ocarina of Time first came out, there really was like a mania within my class, and there were a lot of people who didn't really play a lot of games who got into games because of that.
Right.
Like the quote cool kids, and it felt like a race to beat the game.
Yeah.
And I feel like I rushed through it, and I did finish it. But I did feel like I was kind of cheating myself out of some of the experience because it was like, I'll show them I'm a real gamer.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was some of that.
I've definitely done that before too.
So I think maybe I learned then that there's really not that much to be gained from this.
Yeah.
But
it's like you don't want to miss out on like the conversation or whatever people say. Like I want to be part of this conversation. But see, I've never done this. I've always beaten the game, but my like downfall to that always is a detriment to me too, is that I'm so stubborn that I would just like grind it through.
That is absolutely true.
Till the absolute bitter end. So people have like completely moved on from this game, but I'm still like trying to beat it, and I will relentlessly not let go of it until I do it, which happens to me all the time because a lot of these games have really hard endings, like hard bosses at the end.
Yeah.
But so sometimes I'm like, even if I try to beat it when the game was popular, I kind of fail. But I won't give up. Still, I'll just keep going until I beat it. I feel like this is what happened to me with Metroid.
Yeah,
like the whole office beat the game like ages and ages ago, and like 2 weeks later, I was like, guys, I finally beat it, and then no one cared. And they were like, whatever, go. Okay, okay, you go next. Last one, right?
Yes. So, never have I ever lied to myself about liking a game.
A lie to yourself?
Right. Played yourself.
Oh, like you convinced yourself?
I love this game. This game's so great. And you actually have a moment of realization of like, no, I actually hate this.
Mario Kart 64.
Yeah, again, I caught you on video saying that was your favorite Mario Kart game. And then years later, you said you hate it.
I feel like this could be a lot of games that maybe like a lot of older games that I've played that you have like some formative experience, whether it's like, oh, I remember playing this with my parents, or I had this really great moment with a friend. So it's like not even about the game anymore. It's about like the experience of playing the game. And so you look at it now with like those rose-colored glasses on. And if you go back to it and try to play it again, you're like, this actually sucks. This game is the worst.
Well, I think also for us, during our Nintendo years, we could have fallen victim to this a lot because we had such a different perspective than the normal person, because we were like involved in it. We were invested in it. We were often asked to, speak publicly positively about these games. Mm-hmm. So you could trick yourself if you didn't get a bit of distance from it.
That's so true. And especially with the games that are a little bit more like out there, like the more like Wii Fit, like that kind of Nintendo product that like may not be up like everyone's alley, and then because you're working there, you're like, oh, I have to like this. I think Ring Fit might be that game for me. Oh. Where in the beginning I was like, no, this is like on paper is something that I should really like. Like I like doing this game looks fun with the RPG stuff, and then like it has like the workout element, which I also like, but then like I actually don't like that game. I know people do, and I think other people say it's a great game, but I just don't like it.
Yeah, I think I've actually done this to myself a number of times where I really wanted to like something, and for a time I convinced myself that I did. I think an example is Star Fox Zero, which before it came out,
Oh.
I think deep down I had some real concerns, but I was just like, yeah, this is going to be great. Mr. Miyamoto's involved, Platinum Games. Like, how
Yeah.
could they wouldn't make a bad game.
Right.
And then I remember playing the final game and just this sinking feeling of like, no, I hate this.
And then the last boss that was completely unplayable.
That I completely just rage quit on the
You
last
rage
boss.
quit out of it. Yeah. I definitely played that game. I don't think I liked it.
I think you were much quicker than I was to get to that point.
I beat that game.
You beat it?
Yeah, I played that I beat the last boss.
Wow.
I played it co-op though. That's the only way you
Oh,
can beat
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's the only way you can beat that game. It is so hard to play that game by yourself. But I didn't really like it. I kind of forced myself to play it as well.
Yeah.
So I guess then we both have an I have for that one.
Huh.
All right, ready for my last one?
Yes.
Never have I ever spent more than $1,000 on something gaming related.
Huh. $1,000.
So this could be like systems, obviously, or like special editions, statues.
$1,000 is a lot of money. It's
a lot of money.
I did buy. What year would this have been? This would have been like maybe 2010 or 2011. I did say like I'm going to make a push to get back into PC games, and I bought this like Alienware like PC, and I spent a lot of money getting like I got like a gamer mouse and stuff like that.
Oh wow!
And I have to think that was probably over $1,000, and I just couldn't stick with it. It's like I just have a lot of hangups with PC gaming where just too often stuff doesn't work the way it should, or it doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
And it requires you to be so hands-on with the upkeep. And that's just not what I want out of games. So, I probably, gave it like a year, but I fell off pretty hard after that. And it would take a lot to get me into PC games. So I think that's a yes for me.
Wow. I think no for me. I think the most expensive thing that I have is the PS5. Yeah.
You set the bar pretty high, $1,000.
That's where I think I anything I'm willing to spend on video games. Obviously, something that I love to do. I'm always like, even with new consoles and stuff, even when the PS5 is like so expensive, I was like, no, I want to buy this. Like I want this. But I think $1,000 is like, that's when you're really like, do I really need?
You didn't get that $1,000 V-Buck package?
I should have.
You were deep into V-Bucks for a while.
I had like a V-Buck problem.
We would occasionally get just like these random, like, freebies at Nintendo of like, here's $100 eShop credit, and you would just put it straight into V-Bucks for some reason.
Exactly. I would.
What were you doing with that? Getting dances? What were you doing?
I wanted emotes and like the.
You wanted to. I just wanted to floss.
I wanted to floss so bad in the cool outfit. Come on, don't judge, okay?
Oh no!
I had a big V-Buck problem.
You really did.
I kind of like addicted to it a little bit. So.
Wow.
I don't know why. It was weird.
Okay. No shame.
Well, that is the never a minute segment for the week.
Wonderful. Fun. Yeah. All right, we're on to the games we're playing.
Yes.
I'm curious what you had a chance to play because you were on this trip. Why don't we just start with whatever you could get to?
Yeah, I actually got pretty deep into Bear and Breakfast while I was on this trip. Because I think I mentioned in the last episode, I played on the plane. So I started it. But yeah, throughout the entire trip, I had some, train rides. I had another, obviously, long plane ride back. And like in the evenings when I was just like, relaxing and stuff. It was a great game for exactly this kind of what I needed at the time. I didn't want to jump into like a big story-based game or a big, action-based game or anything like that. It was like a nice way to relax. In that game, like I kind of figured it out. Like I had a little bit of a block with the controls. Like it's, again, I think I mentioned this, like a lot of buried menus because it's a PC game. So I can see why the pointing and clicking and the keyboard would be really helpful. I wish they did like touch screen because that would have been really nice and would have made it a lot easier. But you're just like, it's like really hard to get used to what buttons to press to bring up what menus. And I think I finally figured it out after just like playing it for a little bit longer. But what I really love about it is that you literally do not stop at the first location. Like I had thought that you just like build a bed and breakfast in the woods and that was kind of it. But you get to unlock like all these other locations. Like one is like a desert motel with like a diner. One is like this like farm like up in the hills with like a waterfall. It has like fall vibes. You're like gathering a lot of like fruits and vegetables and like mushrooms and herbs to do like cooking recipes. That's like a new addition to the game. And then I haven't unlocked some of it, but one of it looks like more of like a city. So it actually has a lot more variety than I thought. And yeah, you're doing like everything from like sort of the, you know, the building, the crafting, like the resource management part of it. And then now they've introduced cooking, which I really like. Some of the recipes are so cute. And there's lots of really good, cool characters that they've introduced as you go to different locations. So it's actually really like deep. I did not realize this when I was first learning about this game, but I really love it. And it's really cute and fun and like very cozy. I'm in the farm area right now. So it's like very fall vibes. And I've been making like mushroom soup for my residents and decorating their rooms with like cozy quilts and stuff. So nice. I really like it. I think everyone should play it.
Now back to the controls. Would you say they clicked, or you had just done them so much that you just had like the muscle memory to get through it?
I think I had the muscle memory to get through. I'm
Because
still confused sometimes.
I was looking at the comments from the last episode, and a lot of people said the same thing you did. The controls on the Switch are a little clunky. So it sounds like you would still want them to maybe, if they could, do a bit more work. Yeah,
it would be great if they could. Like the way that you select the menus is you obviously use the buttons, but you also use the stick, and then it doesn't like trigger right because sometimes you're looking at like 5 different menus, so you have to like select the first menu, click it, select the thing that you want, go to the next menu, click it, and then but it doesn't like map correctly sometimes, so you're just like go over or like I mean, it just and then I'm always like, why is this not a touch screen? Like I don't know, this it might be like really really hard to implement a touch screen, but like if they could do that in like in an update or something, that would literally be like a like a huge game changer for that one little flaw that they have.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm glad I'm not the only one. I definitely have gotten a little bit better, just like from muscle memory and from doing the same thing over and over again. But it's not easy. The controls are definitely not easy.
Yeah. Okay. Did you have a chance to participate in the Splatfest?
I did.
Really?
I was really happy because I got home yesterday around noonish. And I was like, oh, good. I still have a couple more hours. And I pledged allegiance to Team Grub, which lost again. Andre Seegers from Game Explain and I were like, both 2 for 2 lost. Like, what's the deal? Maybe we're bad luck. But I played a couple of matches in that. I realized because I was off of Splatoon for a little bit because of the traveling and not being able to have like consistent like Wi-Fi or whatever, people have gotten a lot better and I have not. So it's not going well for me.
Yes. Congratulations to Team Gear, who was the winner. I don't think people saw that coming.
That was like the boringest choice, guys.
I just want to put it out there of like, is there something fishy going on about the matchmaking in Splatoon 3? I can't put my finger on it, and obviously I'm not an expert in matchmaking, but it feels like some of these results are maybe not playing out how they would if there was a different approach to matchmaking. So, for example, my win percentage in Turf War is like pathetic.
Yeah,
it's
me too.
Like sub 25%. And a lot of the times, like the team that I'm in, like we're getting spawn camp, like it's going that badly.
Yeah, that happens to me twice.
Did I get matched up against a team of like regulars who are super high level and I'm just like these random beginners? Like that shouldn't be happening.
I was matched up with against a group that was like a titled group.
Oh.
And they all had like those gold badges under their names. and they basically spawn camped us for like the entire it was like 2% to like 98%. It was something like that.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of
crazy.
people griping in the Splatfest of like, oh, I either got too much or too little tricolor turf war, or I ended up, fighting somebody who was on my team.
I got none.
So I'm like, what? And I can't recall enough of like, did early Splatoon 2 have these sorts of issues? Did they eventually work this out? I just can't remember.
Yeah,
but this is kind of
neither.
standing out to me as kind of an early potential challenge for this game.
Yeah, it wasn't super fun, honestly. I didn't play very much. I just played yesterday towards the end of the Splatfest. But the matches that I played, I felt I think I only won like one out of all the ones that I played. And it just, I felt like I was against a team that was like impossible. It wasn't evenly matched at all.
Yeah, we see this a lot also in our Discord. I'd say people who identify as like average players feel like they're below average because they're getting matched up in these impossible matchups where they're just going to get stomped. So that's kind of a bummer. And I'm sure they'll keep tweaking that stuff. But when you think of like maintaining a player base and, trying to maintain a player base that is not the diehard Splatoon fan, that seems like they should hopefully put that at the top of the list.
Yeah, I was going to say like maybe more weight on fixing that versus it like for people that just, are always going to play Splatoon and play it competitively, like especially for Splatfest where it's such an event that sort of gets people of all skill levels in, like have that be something that you prioritize new players, because I definitely didn't feel like I as a pretty like mediocre Splatoon player, or like, I feel like I should be an average Splatoon player, like I just I felt like I had no chance to really like get ahead at all. So.
You got to get on this Aerospray MG like I did. You just got to swallow your pride. Noob cannon. I'm doing great now.
I get worked by the people with the bubble urinal.
The bucket. The slosher
bucket. Just the bubbles. Just I cannot. Like I'm like, where are you coming from? Like where are you? The
maybe
bubbles
it's time for you to switch.
I don't even have that weapon unlocked, so I cannot even if I wanted to.
I'm sure you've got some version of that you can get.
Ugh.
It's time to switch. Do you have a chance to play anything else?
Nope. Those are the only two that I played. Yeah.
I have been continuing to play Lost Judgment, which is a great time, continues to be.
Yes.
Remember last week I had just done like the first hour, so I was a little confused. I was like, I know this is in Yokohama eventually, but I'm in Tokyo, and like, where's this going? So I'm in Yokohama now, but I've spent like the majority of my time. The story seems to be really focusing on this story in a high school, where there's these stories of bullying inside the school that is kind of attached to this big, very public case that's happening that has the attention of all of Japan. And the head of the school has brought in your detective agency to sort of help them find out what's going on and try and root out any of these issues with bullying that might be going on.
Oh, wow.
So it's, again, as with these Yakuza games, they're not afraid to tackle these kind of big real world, like actually important
like
topics,
social issues and topics and
in a very mature way. But at the same time, like they sprinkle in enough just absurdity that keeps you on your toes. And it's just like, being able to like nail those two things of like the super serious and the super silly, it's like I can't think of too many other games or studios that can do this.
Yeah, I love that though. I think it keeps it, feeling like there's a lightness to it, so that that you're still playing a video game, but also it does talk about some of these like bigger things that maybe societally are actually taking place in Japan. So yeah, always interesting. Are you still doing a lot of like the detective, like looking at the scene and interrogating? Like, is it more so that, or
there's been a bit of that? Okay. I'm glad there's not too much, because that's probably what I would want to be doing the least. It's been pretty story heavy the last couple hours, which has been fine because it's been interesting and I like the characters. Been a pretty good amount of fighting, which is great. The fighting, like, you're just beating up these high schoolers, okay? You're this kind of like middle-aged detective guy who's like a kung fu master, and you're just stomping these students, which is kind of funny. I mean, they had it coming, believe me, but I don't know if every game again would want to go that far.
I like how the solution to bullying is just beating up
more people. Exactly. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. So again, I'm enjoying it a lot. It's a very good contrast to a traditional Yakuza game, but it still has enough of that feel of that world and that developer that I feel the connection, and I'm liking it.
I like that. Yeah. I love that. Okay, cool.
The other thing I checked out, and this was just very briefly, Shovel Knight Dig.
Yes,
we got some codes for.
That game.
Yeah, yes. You should. So we saw this like in passing at PAX.
We did, yeah.
And I think just based on the name, I had gotten when I had first heard about this, I was getting it confused with the other, like the puzzle game that they had put out like maybe a year ago.
The one that was like weirdly hard.
Yeah, so my brain wasn't completely registering what this was. So I think I maybe like wrote it off at the time, but this is kind of like I think they call it a roguelite. But the idea is you're actually digging like down into a big hole and trying to get as far as you can get.
Okay.
And when you die, you go back to the beginning, and there's some stuff that you lose, and there's some stuff that carries over, and you can upgrade yourself. So that's that's a proven addictive gameplay loop.
Yeah.
But it's very reminiscent of the SteamWorld Dig games.
Oh, I love those games.
Which is a good thing. It's a very good thing.
Yeah.
But in sometimes in those games you're going more like left to right. It's kind of a big open area, and
open map.
Yeah. In this one, it's kind of you're going straight
down
a lot of the times.
Okay.
So that gives it kind of a little bit of a feel of that game Downwell, where it's just go down, down, down.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that game was fun too.
It feels very much like the original Shovel Knight games. Like there are like actual boss encounters or real enemy encounters where you need to do more than just hack away at it. So I appreciate that it feels appropriately actiony in those parts. Is there any
platforming at all, or is it just like the digging aspect?
Well, sometimes you need to actually think about like where to dig to make yourself a platform to get to certain spots, or if you want to get certain treasures. Cool. You can't just always be blindly
going down. Okay.
Right. And there are a lot of branching paths as well that are kind of neat, where it's like, well, I can, go this path and try and get some treasure, or go this path and try and get this item. I got this item that let me kind of like turn into a ghost and go through walls briefly, which turned out to be really useful. Again, I only played this for like the first hour, and I got to the first boss and wasn't able to make it. This was all just last night, so I'm going to keep going. But
fun!
It's pretty cool. It's very different from a normal Shovel Knight game, but it feels properly Shovel Knight. I'm just wondering, like, when are we going to get the next like Shovel Knight 2 or whatever they want to call it? I'm kind of ready for that.
Full like game again. I know, me too. I feel like we had so much DLC. They were all really good, but the original like Shovel Knight, we haven't seen an update to that for so many years now. I feel like
when I think of Shovel Knight, I still think like, oh, that's a brand new franchise. That's only been around for like a year or two, and I think the first one came out in like 2014 or something. It's pretty old at this point.
It's almost like nearing like that like nostalgia mark.
I know,
which is kind of crazy when you think about it.
Yeah.
And how far that studio came. Oh my gosh, like unbelievable. Like where it started.
Yeah, I do replay that game on occasion, and that game still is absolutely amazing. I am really ready for another one of those whenever it happens.
Me too. Those games are really hard for me, but I really love it. I have a very embarrassing memory of me playing that game at an event when we were still at Nintendo when they first showed the game, and I could not get past like this part, and the person that was there was like, oh my gosh, this is the worst like person ever.
No,
so embarrassed. It was embarrassing. Anyways,
all right. And then just in the camp of what we've been playing, like we said, we did play Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Check out the video for that.
So good. Yes.
I love that game. I have my full impressions in that video. I did want to say though, this is probably neck and neck with God of War for me now, as far as like the 2022 games I'm most excited for,
like hyped for.
Yeah, it absolutely shot up there for me. So I don't know about you, but I was super impressed with it.
I'm definitely pleasantly surprised that some of the things that I didn't love as much in the first one seems to all have been improved. Like the more like open battles, the easy mode, like all these things make it just feel like it's enough of a departure from parts of that first game that I didn't love as much. That is making me excited to just like play the full game myself and see. But yeah, I'm excited. I've been wanting to. I like want something new to play. So October can come now, please, and so we can get some of these bigger games for the
that's out right around the same time as Bayonetta. So I guess I'm opting for that over Bayonetta, and then
check out Bayonetta still,
and then God of War is not far after that.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we're kind of having a nice little lull in between big releases right now, where you can actually play what you want and take a breath. But it's gonna
the other game that I'm really kind of curious about. It's on Game Pass now. It's Loop Hero, or not Loop Hero, Deathloop.
Oh yeah, you've been
Loop
talking
Hero
about
is a good game too, but Death Loop. I've been meaning to check that one out. I'm probably gonna do that this week. I just read a thing that they do have like a story mode that's like very short. It's only like 10 hours or something like that. So I'm kind of curious. I know that game has gotten like a ton of accolades and stuff, and it looks kind of hard. So we'll see we'll see how it goes. But might as well. It's on Game Pass. So
yeah, I haven't played that game at all, but I know people who have really like it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna check that out this week too.
All right,
cool.
That's what we're playing. Now on to the news. It's I'd say it was a light-ish news week for us here.
Well, after the news week from the last week, I think we all need a little break, honestly.
But we're starting with a big one.
Oh boy!
Out of nowhere, we've learned
Mario movie.
The Mario movie teaser is coming on October 6th as part of New York Comic-Con.
Yes.
Sounds like they're doing a big 45-minute panel or event where people can go and watch that. Mm-hmm. And then they also announced that the movie's releasing April 7th. I think that date was new. I think they had just put out kind of like a placeholder-ish date.
They said April, I think.
Okay. So now April 7th, we know that's the date. So we will absolutely be reacting to that. Although at this point, they haven't completely confirmed, I think, whether the teaser is going to be actually posted online. Like I know... Like when Marvel does their panel at Comic-Con, they don't always release those things.
Yeah, like the Hall H panels they don't release the actual trailer.
I mean, you'd think they would, because this is pretty close at this point.
Yeah.
I need to see this.
Well, we're all gonna need to see it. We're gonna need to see Chris Pratt singing on a warp pipe.
Chris Pratt has chimed in. The world needed to know. He said he was blown away by it. Shocking. The movie. He was blown away by the movie that he's in. Amazing. I mean, I'm consistently blown away by this podcast. Just take it from me. I mean, I cannot believe the quality of this thing. So what do you think we get in this? I mean, calling it a teaser implies that it's going to be short.
It's going to be short.
Do you think? So obviously, we'll see. Do you think we hear hear his voice?
I think we hear his voice. I think we do hear. Maybe it's a very short thing. It's me.
I was gonna say I think it ends with him saying some iconic "Let's go."
Iconic Mario line.
Right. But I think it might be like a minute-ish in length, and you see some of the world, you see some of the characters, but that's probably I'm feeling the only dialogue necessarily that you're going to get is like a one-liner.
Exactly. Yeah. But it'd be cool to see the style, maybe they'll show the world a little bit, a glimpse of that. I'm imagining some sort of drone overview of the world, and then it kind of zooms in on some of the iconic characters, and there's some cute little action, whatever. You got to
the Smash Mouth song plays.
Coming to theater April 7th.
In a world
where nothing is as it seems.
Mamma mia!
And then it goes, Mamma mia!
Smash cut to the Smash Mouth song,
I have this in my head right now. I'm not going to sing it because we might get demonetized.
Yeah.
So we can't
do it.
Sing a lick of that song.
No.
But I just know that I'm singing it in my head as we tease this trailer. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I know you're really nervous.
I'm on pins and needles about this.
You're nerve-sighted.
I am on pins and needles. It could go so many different ways. Could be great. Could be terrible.
This could be it really could be
I don't know.
a watershed moment for this movie. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, even more. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's like direct. It's like, yeah, you want to know what's there, but you have a feeling.
You know, kind of what the format is.
It's like, yes,
be,
I've seen a Nintendo video game before. I know what they tend to look like, but this
you know
is
what
like
a trailer for that.
Everything is on the table.
Yeah,
everything.
And also, like, there's not a lot of inspired confidence from what's happened so far. So it's like you kind of and you don't want to set your expectations where it's like, oh gosh, like now I'm going to be extremely disappointed because it's going to be some like cheesy nonsense, right? It's like, ooh, nervous. Yeah.
So what do you make of them doing this 45-minute event? I imagine there'll be somebody. Like, do you think some of the cast will be there? Do you think Mr. Miyamoto will be there?
Maybe the cast will be there. I'm not sure.
How are you filling 45 minutes for a 1-minute teaser?
So I think that maybe Chris, what's his name? Chris
Meledandri?
Meledandri, yeah. I think
not Chris Pratt. Which Chris will be there?
There's too many Chris's.
They are.
Not Christopher Ellis either.
No.
Maybe Christopher Ellis will be there. I don't know. Yeah, I think some of the cast will be. Dude, a lot of celebrities go to New York Comic Con. I know San Diego is like the big celebrity one. Like, I don't hear about.
There have been more movie-ish things happening. I do think Mr. Miyamoto will be there.
You think so?
I have a feeling because he's so invested in this project, and it's been such a long build-up. And we've done trips with him in New York. He loves going to New York.
He does love New York.
I think he wants this kind of, he wants to see the reaction. He wants to be a part of it, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope that he is. I mean, I think it'd be great if he was there, and it's always nice to see Mr. Miyamoto and see him outside of the confines of a Nintendo Direct or whatever, or like a really awkward shareholders meeting, and see him in his element of doing something that he's actually passionate about. So great. I hope that he's there. But
yeah, I mean, there might be. So again, they have 45 minutes to fill. Is there something else that they might reveal in addition to the teaser? Like, oh, here are some characters that you didn't see in the teaser.
Oh, sure.
Who they like flash an image of, like, oh, and here's Donkey Kong. And
yeah. There might be more
this.
like minor cast members that they want to introduce during this.
Oh my gosh.
Because there's probably going to be a lot of characters represented.
There's so many characters, and they're obviously not going to be all in a 1-minute trailer.
Yeah.
There's just a lot. I'm already bracing myself for this.
You seem like you're not going to make it.
I don't know what's going to happen. Okay. I don't know. I mean, this is very, like, I don't know. I could be in a bad place if this doesn't go well. I need this to go well.
I know.
Like Mr. Miyamoto, who also needs it to go well for other reasons.
Well, he
made this.
Different reasons.
So yes,
different reasons.
That was the big news last week.
Right.
Also, just this morning, some news about E3 came out. I don't know if you saw this. They have announced dates.
Okay.
And they also announced they're doing this thing that I think we were hoping they would do: business days and public days.
Oh yeah.
So. Business days.
Goodness, is a long stretch of time.
I was going to say June 13th through 15th, June 16th through 17th for the public. Yeah. And then they said starting June 11th will be these partner showcases, which are press conferences or Nintendo Directs or whatever. So I guess that I don't have a calendar in front of me, but that looks like it's a full week. I guess June 13th is probably a Monday, and that goes. I should probably check, actually. I don't know.
See. I'm looking right now. I'm looking at a calendar.
That's basically a full week right there.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
June 11th is a Sunday.
Okay.
And the 17th is a Saturday. So it's literally like
smart.
A full week.
To have one public day on a weekend at least.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. We'll see. See who participates, obviously.
It's a step in the right direction because the business and public part of E3 never felt like it worked.
Like it never jived, yeah.
And I honestly felt bad for the public because that show is not made for the public. So it does make me wonder, are people going to build their booths differently knowing they will have to accommodate both? Will some people like change their booths a little bit? Obviously you can't build another booth, but is there something you can modify from business into public to make it better for them? But this is a step in the right direction. And We were just at PAX, which is a Read Pop event, which was extremely well run. I think
It
that
was so well run.
I
That's
mean,
a good vote in that.
we've been to a lot of PAXs, and that was probably the best run, considering all the other stuff they had to deal with this year.
Yeah.
I definitely feel pretty good. Again, it all comes down to the content and stuff, but as far as the event, they can do it.
Yeah, I'm curious about which companies are going to get back into this. Like, does it feel, does it feel like it's worth it? If not all the big ones participate, kind of thing. Like, that's going to be the real tell. I don't have any worries of it being like a well-run event. I think that's, at this point, seems like we figured that out, you know? But it's just gonna be a matter of like, is this still relevant enough for people to participate in a big way?
Yeah.
And if it's not, and they don't, I think it doesn't work anymore. Like, it won't work ever again, kind of thing. So
yeah. All right, our last story. This has kind of been building. There's been a big resurgence of Cyberpunk 2077. So CD Projekt came out and said they have had over 1 million active players every day last week. And it's kind of coinciding with this Cyberpunk Edge Runners show, which is on Netflix. And there's also a big-ish new patch for the game that's bringing a lot of people in. I binged Edge Runners last week.
And you loved it.
Excellent. I mean, we fairly recently played that game.
Yes,
so it was
we
still
both
pretty fresh in my mind. But I was thinking, like, gosh, CD Projekt has done a great Witcher show, and now they've done a great Cyberpunk show.
This is a good formula that works really well for them.
This is kind of a secret talent that they have that they are getting a lot out of that a lot of companies have not nailed yet.
Yeah, and this is like something kind of obvious. Like, if you have great IP that you can make into other media properties, like, why wouldn't you, kind of thing? And to do it well and to grab like people that are not playing the game through this is so incredibly smart. I have not watched the show yet because I was away last week, but I'm going to watch it. I'm going to binge it this week. I'm so excited. I beat the game recently and I really loved this game, even though I know it had like a rocky start. I think when you and I both talked about this when we were both playing, didn't have any issues.
Yeah, that stuff's been fixed.
And it's been fixed, exactly. And to see that the show really did, cause this huge like resurgence in active players is like, it's pretty awesome because, I mean, like, what else are you going to do to recapture people's interest for a game that came out like almost nearly about a year ago, right, at this point?
Yeah.
So super smart, and I'm so glad this show is good. And yeah, I can't wait to watch it.
The show's really well done because it comes across as something that you don't really need much knowledge of the game to get into, just like The Witcher as well. And they do a good job of explaining the key points of the world, but there's a lot of nods to the show, or excuse me, to the game, where there's like certain characters that you'll see, or a lot of times settings. Like, I'll just see like some random street corner. It's like, oh, I recognize that 100%.
Oh, cool.
And most of the characters, the main characters, are original new characters, but there's just enough there for the people who played the games to feel like they're a little insidery with it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's really well done. Hopefully they make more of that. And I saw they just announced season 3 of The Witcher's coming this summer, which is exciting.
That's really exciting. I can't wait to get back to that show. I thought that season 2 left us on a pretty awesome cliffhanger. So, but yeah, they definitely know what they're doing with this, and they should definitely keep doing it because these shows are really good. So
right. Well, that's the news for the week. And now we are on to questions from our Patreon community.
Let's get going.
Yeah. First question comes from Bruce Stash on She-Hulk episode 6. Minor spoiler. I've seen it. I don't consider this to be much of a spoiler, so we're going to talk about it. There's a scene where Mario Kart is mentioned as well as a group playing on the Nintendo Switch, which made me wonder, how does Nintendo product placement like this work with TV and film? And does Nintendo pay to make a scene like this occur in media? She-Hulk's a great show, by the way. You should all watch it.
Great show. Actually, it's the other way around. I think, well, there's 2 sides to your question. I think when, and I used to weirdly have some role to play in this at Nintendo, where a lot of just random companies would reach out and ask about product placement for movies or TV shows. Um, this happened a lot during the Wii age, obviously, because Wii was so popular. And if you wanted to be quote unquote like relevant or have like a relevant product, you're going to need to have like, you know, if you want to talk about video game, Wii would always be the thing that people wanted to show. So we had this agency that would take care of that for Nintendo. So when I got a phone call from random TV producer that wanted to put something on their show, it would be forwarded to this media placement agency, and they would basically work out the terms. But basically, you need to sign like a contract that allows someone to use your IP, and that's how it gets included into the show. A lot of these organic product placements, Nintendo doesn't pay for it at all. And on the flip side, sometimes it costs the media company money to use the Nintendo IP because it's so popular. But on the other side of that, there's obviously like been times where like something is not as popular, like Wii U, and you want it to be in a show, and you can pay for that as part of like the advertising for it, and it can be quite expensive to do that. But for the most part, Nintendo was pretty much on the side where if someone approached them about including the products on a show, they usually would do it, and it would go through this like kind of boring process of getting a contract signed for them to use it.
And these were things that would take a very long time in the legal realm to get figured out. So sometimes there were a lot of times I think we would have to say no, because it's like, well, we're filming this next week. Can you sign this form? And it's like, no, of course not. We have to put this through the legal process, which could take a long time.
Yeah, the legal team has their form too. So if the company's like, "Oh, just sign your form,"
it's like two competing forms.
Oh man, it's a big job to manage that kind of stuff. We've done it a couple of times. But
so whenever I would, we all got these at some point. I was always glad to forward it on to be somebody else's headache.
Yeah, someone else's problem, because that you do look at them and they're like pretty cool sometimes. Like a pretty cool movie or TV show or something like that, and you're like, oh yeah, this sounds like something that would be like great to have product placement in.
Exactly.
But,
all right. WeTrick has the next question. After hearing the firm corporate stance on Nuzlocke runs, has Nintendo ever internally discussed their views on games done quick? They now raise millions of dollars for charity every year, and Nintendo games are always front and center. Is speedrun a banned word in the office? Good follow-up to our Nuzlocke conversation. There's actually a number of people at Nintendo who are involved in games done quick from certain, different perspectives. The company never had an issue with it.
No.
Obviously, speed runs on their own are totally fine. It's where, you start to get into like, oh, we've modified the game, or, they call them the tool assisted speed run.
Right.
The company's not a fan of those. They would not look to, officially sanction those, but they also weren't going to go out of their way to shut this event down.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Especially with the, the charitable component. I think they recognize that would be a bad look.
Exactly.
Yeah. Chase Yama has our next question. Hey, Kit and Krysta, a bit of a controversial topic here.
Uh-oh.
With the argument of video games having negative effects on society, like gambling, addiction, or violence, were there ever discussions or steps taken internally at Nintendo regarding this? Also, do you personally feel that these are prevalent issues in gaming? Well, yeah, I mean, we had people who were involved in these sort of cross-company, panels talking about, the role of these things, the impact of, these parts of gaming on humanity as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
I think we often like patted ourselves on the back though of like, well, we don't have these problems. Like, we don't have this crazy violence. So I think we saw ourselves as being slightly removed on a lot of these issues.
Right, exactly. And Nintendo as a whole being slightly removed from a lot of these issues because of the family-friendly nature of most of the games that is on a Nintendo platform. But certainly there's also like a segment of Nintendo, like of the communications team that we worked on that handled like crisis communication and also government relations, which is like 100% not my cup of tea at all. Like I could never imagine myself doing a job like that. But that was basically what they had to do. They had to like look at these bigger, social issues and come up with potential responses to questions if that ever comes up for Nintendo or like the gaming industry as a whole. And then they also worked with like these lobbyists and stuff in government to like have these kinds of discussions with like legislation and stuff, which again sounds way over my head and something that would be very hard to work on. But there was definitely like teams at the company that were actively like working on these kinds of things.
Now, don't skirt the second part of this question. Do you personally feel these are prevalent issues in gaming? Tell us.
I feel like everyone is responsible for themselves, unless you're a child and your parents are responsible for you. But you should be, you kind of need to be responsible for your own decision making. Like you know yourself best. You know if a game is going to trigger you in some way or be bad for you mentally, or it doesn't have to be a game. It could be anything. It could be, a movie, a food, anything that's an external thing that you could consume or have a relationship with. Like if it's toxic and bad for you. So I think that's a decision that's going to be different, and the scale of that is going to be different for everybody. So it's really it makes it difficult for like this governing body or like some third party to be like, this is where we draw the line, like because that line can be really different for everybody. So
Yeah,
that's kind of where I stand on this.
I have been glad at some of the kind of disclosure requirements going into mobile games
Mm-hmm.
that often can feel like gambling at times.
Yeah.
Because I think it was around the time we were talking about Diablo Immortal, and we were talking about how it's like, well, it's easy enough to just not do it. We did hear from a lot of people that say like, there's some portion of the population that does struggle with that sort of thing and kind of
Sure.
can't control their impulse when it comes to that. So it is good that they take steps to move it out of that and give people more information about what they are getting into with
Yes.
those sorts of games. Because yeah, that did feel like a part of gaming that maybe wasn't playing by the same rules as what you saw before.
Yeah. The disclosure part of it and the transparency part of it is certainly, I think, important. And I think you to make a decision for yourself, you need to have all of the information laid out in front of you so you can make that decision. If that is being withheld from you in some way and you didn't know going in what you were going to expect, then I think that is a problem.
Yeah. And violence, I mean, the ESRB does extensive work coming up with those ratings. Like, they are supposed to see every, potentially, element of a game that could influence a rating. Otherwise, there's huge penalties. So those ratings are there for a reason. And, I think at a certain point, it comes out down to, if you're talking about kids being exposed to violence, like, well, the industry is doing what it can to protect kids from that, and at a certain point, it's no longer their responsibility. So,
right, exactly.
I think it's the gambling in kind of gotcha game aspect is one that I had my eye on, but I was happy with some of those recent changes.
Yeah.
Frulio has a question. What was it like overcoming language barriers when working with non-English speaking colleagues at Nintendo? How easy was it to form friendships despite the differences in language?
Yeah. Our immediate colleagues, I feel like that we worked with closely and daily and formed deeper relationships with. We thankfully they all spoke English, so that was not as difficult as maybe it could have been. But I will say that I feel like even though a lot of our developers didn't speak English fluently, we were able to form really deep connections with them. I recall, being on a trip with Mr. Koizumi for the launch of Nintendo Switch, where we talked about all sorts of stuff. Like there was a translator that was there to help us with those conversations, but we had like very like, deep conversations about life and each other and, not just about the business at hand of like launching the system. It was very personal. And I found it, quite easy to form that connection with him and other developers either through translators or just through being open to having conversations in a different way, or explaining things in a different way. But yeah, and I never felt that like hindered us, from forming friendships with people.
Working at a big-ish international company like Nintendo, you do come to recognize how many resources go into the communication part of things, because you have so many people speaking so many different languages. And then you also have the localization side of making the actual product appropriate for, all the markets that you're in. But like, there's a dedicated department at Nintendo that's called Language Services they're basically, facilitating business communication between all the countries. And like you were saying, in our case, we had people whose full job was to help us enable those conversations. So the company was very well resourced from that standpoint and helped us to create those relationships. I do wonder about, the challenges other companies might face that aren't as well resourced. And I could see that being a big hindrance. And I always think back to like, what was Nintendo like in, the 80s, when it was not, as established as it is now, and they were still figuring things out. Like, how did anything ever get done? I mean, just not only that,
and then you probably didn't even ask. That's
like the communicate, like how was, obviously there was much less communication because you didn't have email. You just had a fax machine
and like a memorandum or something.
And it's like, it's just a completely different company and a completely different style of work at that point that feels so
like far from what you could possibly like fathom now. And like, how could you ever go back to a world like that? Yeah.
And yet things happened and business happened. And it's like, do we even need all this stuff now? I don't know.
Yeah. If you want to make money in a business, you'll find the way to do it.
True. It's true. Yeah. Yeah. Radon has our next question. Greetings, Kit and Krysta. With the holiday season coming up in a couple months, I was just curious what your guys' plans are for taking time off with it being just the two of you. Are you going to take turns covering for each other and have it be a one-person show for a couple of weeks? Or will there be a week or two with no new episodes, which would be absolutely fine? We don't want you guys to burn out. Well, thank you for that.
That's very sweet. Thank you. Yeah, I think we're coming up with those plans now. We definitely will take some time off. We don't know what that exact calendar will look like, but we definitely don't want to. We don't want to burn out. We want to take time with our families, of course, around the holidays. But we also think that we can probably do it in a way where there's some form of stuff going live. Whether we just kind of shoot things earlier or kind of get prepared for it before the holidays roll around. But yeah, we were definitely thinking about that. And thank you for your nice notes about recognizing that this is just a 2-person operation.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we got a lot of experience doing Nintendo Minute, where really the only weeks that we would not have a show were around like Christmas and New Year's, where we would take a proper break. But, even when we would go on vacations, like we would, film things in advance and get them ready, or, find ways to do it and still get, the full break. So yeah, I think you're right that we can, take a bit of time off, but still find ways to get some stuff out there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Richie Rich has the next question. Hi, Kit and Krysta. When gaming at home, is there something unique to you that you feel is essential to your gaming experience? Is there a certain drink or snack you enjoy while playing, or even a particular mannerism or certain equipment that you need to have to play? For me, if I'm playing a game on a weekend morning and have just straight up black coffee, in the evening, I'll get some aromatherapy going with scented candles and reed diffusers. Wow, Richie Rich.
So nice. What scent are the candles, though? That's my question.
Wow.
That sounds like a lovely gaming morning and evening. I definitely think my gaming morning routine is not as like involved. Yeah, I definitely will have like a coffee or have my breakfast while I check in on a game. I was doing that a lot with like Animal Crossing. I was doing it with Bear and Breakfast too. I would have my breakfast and like kind of check in on my bear and breakfast.
It's delightful.
Which was very delightful. In the evenings, I'm with you. I need to have all the stuff. Like I set up my couch in a certain way where like the cushions are just right, and I have my blanket, and then my doggy usually like curls up next to me on the blanket so that we can like I'll like cuddle up with my dogs to play, and then I get like really I have to sit in this particular spot on my couch so that it's like the perfect center point between me and the screen. And then yeah, I'll have like a nice tea or a nice beverage, after dinner beverage, and enjoy a nice relaxing or exciting play sesh. But yeah, I do the same thing. I want to have like an experience.
And let's not even get into, if you're playing Splatoon, what all that entails. I mean, by the time you're set up, you're basically got to go to bed, right?
Well, it's a good thing I'm in bed with the pillows anyway.
For me, if I'm playing in the evenings, which I most often am, so a thing about me, we had a thing about you, now a thing about me, I do not drink water during the day. Really at all.
Really weird.
Like I'll have like, a coffee or something, but in terms of just like water to keep you alive,
98% of your body.
I really don't
or whatever.
do that until the evening. And that's become kind of a weird habit of mine. And you know this about me. I will get the biggest mug I can get and have some sort of like an herbal tea.
Yeah.
And I will drink multiple cups of that.
Like a lot. Like 5
because
or 6.
It's just like, this is my time to play some games and also hydrate myself.
But then what if you have to go to the bathroom?
Well, I can pause the game. It's fine.
But what about the bathroom in the middle of the night?
I'm getting into some details here, but it's not a problem.
Okay.
All right.
Pee the bed?
I wear a diaper.
Rubber sheets?
Oh, gosh.
Okay. Moving on.
You took it from a nice place to a not so nice place. Come on.
Rubber sheets it is.
Sneeze cough. This is a fun one. What is the earliest memory you have from your life?
Oh, wow. Okay.
For me, it's playing Super Mario Sunshine with my dad. Those are very special memories. That's the earliest memory I have from my existence. So not even necessarily gaming related, just in your life.
Well, you're very young, sneeze cough. You're a baby.
Sneeze cough.
Sneeze cough, though. You're a baby. My earliest memory in my whole entire life, I think this is definitely it, is I remember I was in China sitting on the kitchen counter, and my grandmother was giving me a like one of those tangerine oranges that you can peel, like a cutie.
A cutie.
And she was peeling the oranges for me and giving me one orange, like feeding me one orange slice at a time, and asking me to memorize my phone number. Oh. And she says, if I ever got lost, find a policeman and tell them your phone number, and they'll call us and we'll come find you.
Was it like you would get a cutie piece if you recited it correctly?
Yeah.
It's like training a dog.
I still remember the phone number to this day. The phone number is still the same phone number, so I'm not going to say it.
Don't say it.
Call my grandmother in China, which would be weird. She's like, "Who are you?" But yeah, that is my earliest memory.
I have 2. And do you remember how old you were when this was?
I must have been like 3.
It's interesting how you really do have no memory of your life until a certain point.
Yeah, it's crazy. The brain is just mush.
So I have 2. One is watching the original Star Wars, A New Hope, but this was a VHS tape of a recording of it when it was on TV.
How old were you then?
I don't know, but I think this recording was from like the mid 80s or so. So it actually had all of the commercials from that time.
Oh, do you still have that recording?
Well, I don't know. My parents may, but up until like DVDs came out and I could get Star Wars on DVD, that's how I would watch that movie. So I would always be exposed to these really weird commercials that had like, I mean, the mid 80s was apparently a real different vibe. It's like, what is this? And I don't know if maybe there were scenes, how when they show like a movie on TV, they might like edit stuff out.
Yeah.
I feel like they may have cut some stuff out of Star Wars, but obviously I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So maybe that has something to do with it, of that being one of my first memories, watching this janky, taped off of the television.
I totally remember doing that too.
Yeah.
Like taping movies off TV.
Right.
So crazy.
The other one is not so fun. I remember I was eating dinner with my family. We were having hot dogs. And I remember saying to them, I don't want to eat the hot dog. And they said, no, this is dinner. You need to eat. And I ate it. And then I remember later I threw up. So I must have had a stomach ache.
Oh, hot dogs for dinner.
That was one of the early memories.
Oh my.
I showed them, didn't I? This is what happens when you make me eat the hot dog. I said I didn't want to. Parents.
You were just you must have not been feeling very well.
Exactly. But I couldn't like communicate it. I just like I don't want to eat it. You know? So there you go. Funny how the brain works. Our last question is from Who is Bowser's Jr. Mom? As a follow-up to the question about games inspiring tourism, have you ever been traveling and found places that reminded you of something from a game? For example, this sunken temple.
I love this.
Which I need to know where this is from.
Where is this from? Yeah.
I don't know.
So cool.
My gosh.
The water temple.
I find myself often, if I'm like on a hike, I would love for this to be in a game. Just these like wide open outdoor spaces. Like I love having those in games.
Yeah. Vistas.
Yes.
Vistas. Definitely had this when I was in Italy for Assassin's Creed. I basically was like going around like Tuscany, like pointing to every tower in Siena and like, I could climb that. I could definitely climb that. Oh, I could climb that too. But it was like, totally exactly like one of those moments where it was bringing that game. It's like what you saw in the game is exactly reflected in the real place, which was really cool.
Right.
Yeah, I love that.
All right. That is all of our questions.
Great questions every week from our wonderful Patreon family. Okay, should we move on to our superstar shout out?
Indeed.
Great. I will go first. Here we go. Aaron Hash.
Ben Eichhorn.
Maru Mayhem.
Hertz.
Eigenverse.
From Raoul with love.
Jordan Collette.
Kiss My Flapjack.
Mike Chin.
Mr. Rogers.
Paul Gale Network.
Rain Tech.
Roy Eschke.
Simon Barrera.
Switching it up _
Cephazon.
The Shark Among Men.
VGM Life. And also our newest member, Ali.
Woohoo!
Yes.
Ali! Exciting stuff. All right. Now, One Up Club graduation ceremony. Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Aaron Burgundy.
Adam Edwards.
John Malari.
Alejandro.
Alexandra Pratt.
Andre NYH.
Angela Bycroft.
Bagel.
Bookham Dano.
Brad SF56.
Bruce Dash.
Chancellor Fairley.
Christian.
Christopher Lay.
Colin Madigan.
Cozy Tar.
Captain Cinnamon Buns.
Captain Alex.
C. Roper 17.
Daniel Cold.
Daniel Valencia.
Dachshund.
Doodoo Face.
Douglas Chomix.
Dustin E.
Dino Punch.
Elite Beach.
Espars 50.
Ezrato.
Fairbound.
Fred Rossi.
Gar.
Garrett Hallfish.
Ian Shea.
Israel Izzy.
Jay Rando.
Jabroni Jones.
Jackie Z.
JK99.
JBJ.
Jeff Yoakum.
Jesse Hernandez.
Jim Wakeland.
John Responte.
Jonathan Rowe.
Jordan Hemmerly.
Joseph DeHaze.
Joshua Clements.
Chuchi Fruit.
Just Camtro.
Kai Commercio.
Kawa 2796.
Kelp Shake.
Kevin Delane.
K Nanan TV.
Christorati Kid.
Christopia Party With Me.
Kyle Gamer Barry Rookie.
Kyle Kreitzer.
Kyle LaBouffe.
Kyler Nelson.
Linnell Stickman.
Lego My Froggo.
Link. Hashtag Christorati.
Woohoo. Lit.
Lucas Pico.
Malfarink.
Mamu.
Marky Man 64.
Matthew Rawald.
Mecha Dragon 101.
Megan.
Michael Cravens.
Michael Major.
Mikey.
Murph.
My Tran.
Nasir.
Nathan Burkhart.
Nodnarb.
Panda Buns.
Pastel Prince,
Patreon user,
Piano Psychopath,
Prince Charmless,
PS Wee,
Quinn Hardigan,
Reaver,
Ray Chiron,
Ray Clausen,
Ryuji Usuho Oku,
Renee Rivers,
RJ Kern,
Rob Osborne,
Rox,
Ryan Hayes 521,
Ryanetta,
Sam Neeland,
Sheer Cold Vanille,
Shinryu,
Slowbro,
Schmiggles,
Spicy Munchkin,
Steel Citrone,
Sunscreen,
The Number 9 Door,
Thomas Alvarez,
Thomas Sawson,
Troopage,
Tugs Puppy Bear,
Tyler Roddy Geistopian,
Video Game Stupid,
Beautiful Dandy,
Virtual Bot,
Wicked Davy,
Will Ernst,
Zudaverf,
Zelgaroth.
and Zen!
Wow!
Zen!
Amazing.
All right. We did it. Again, ranks are growing and I love to see it. If you're not following us already on Patreon, it's patreon.com/Kit and Krysta. Thank you again to our wonderful Patreon community for making all of this possible. Follow us on our other social media channels. We are Kit and Krysta on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, like, hit that notification bell, do all the things, and leave us a comment so you can win a $50 eShop gift card.
Oh my gosh,
And
yes.
Thank you so much for Slickdeals for sponsoring this episode. And that's it.
We made it.
We did it. All right. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.